Hey, how we doing, guys? I trust we are doing excellent by God's grace. Minister Stein here with you all. Today we are going to learn a very important lessons that I got a request from one of our piano subscribers and students online. He asked for a little bit of theory to be taught. But before that, let me just introduce the topic of today. Today, what we are going to be discussing, suspended piano chords. Basically, when you're playing the piano and you see sus, what that means. Okay, so the two common ones that we get exposed to or we see a lot is the 2 and the 4, which is suspended 2 or suspended 4. It would have the major chord accompanied with sus2 or sus4. We are going to explain that, and I cannot really talk a lot about that without also, today we are doing it in 3 parts. Okay, we are talking about the suspended chords, which is we are going to cover the suspended 2 and the 4. Then we're also going to talk about the 7th chords. Okay, so the 7th we are just going to basically deal with. I'm not going to go too deep into it, to the augmented and other types that we can use, but we are going to stick with basically a major 7th and a dominant 7th. Okay, and we can do that in the majors and the minors. Okay, and I'll explain that shortly. Okay, then after that we are going to talk about extensions. Okay, so the extensions, those are like the stuff that we see that looks something like a 9th or 11th or a 13th. What do I mean by that? I'm going to explain all this shortly, so don't worry about this. So let's just say you have a chord like this. Okay, say you have a chord like this, right? And then you see something that looks like this. You guys see how like there's a 9 there. Okay, so that 9, where did it come from, right? And that's what we are going to talk about, so that you can have a better understanding of what that 9 means. Okay, so we are going to talk about those things today. So again, today's lesson is entitled Suspended Piano Chords, Sus2 plus Sus4, 7th chords, basically dealing with the major and minor 7ths, dealing with dominant and major regular majors, and also extensions, the 9th, the 11th, and the 13th. Okay, and I'm going to explain all this very shortly. I'm not even going to make this lesson long. It's going to be straightforward. Okay, so before we get started, let me show the screen here so it helps us. Let me show this here, 1 second. All right, so when you go on YouTube and you want to subscribe to our channel, just go to L4C, type in L4C. If you type L4C, it will come, but you can just type L4C Multimedia like that, and it's going to come up. Okay, and you can see we are streaming right now. This is this lesson. Now, when you come here, it will bring our channel up, and you'll be able to see our videos and all that stuff. But most importantly, what I want to talk to you guys about is the playlist. Okay, so when you go inside the playlist, there's a playlist that is just for music students. Okay, so if you come into the playlist, you see School of Music right here, School of Music. Just click it. You can actually do it this way. View full playlist, and it will bring you here, and you can view the full playlist and go through the videos. But if you don't want to do it that way, you can simply just do it, just click on it, and it will bring you to these lessons, and you can learn a lot. Okay, so a lot of lessons are in there that is going to help you, so just go through it and get whatever you need. It's a lot of videos right now, 259. It's a lot, so just go through it and it'll help you. So let's talk about today's lesson. So this video here, so this lesson that's going on in the background, so you guys hear that lesson going on in the background? Okay, cool. That was from yesterday and last night, right? And somebody commented this, and that's the focus of today. So the person says, powerful, thanks for sharing. This is from Davy Wavy. He goes, powerful, thanks for sharing. powerful. Thanks for sharing. And then he says, I've also wondered how we are able to identify and understand these chord names that are on the screen, because he sees me playing like this and he doesn't know what those stuff are, right? These B stuff and all this stuff going on. Let's just say if I was to do my chords, let me go to a section I'm doing chords. So say I'm doing chords. Okay. All right. See, when I'm doing chords, you just see these random stuff there, and he doesn't know what those are, right? And he's asking, how do we identify what it actually is, right? So basically, he said, how do you understand those chords on the screen? For example, C sus4, C add 11th. Okay, and we are going to talk about all that, right? So he asked that, and he says, I've always tried to learn the concept and theory of it, but never knew where to start from. So today I'm just going to keep it very simple, and I'm going to just explain that to him. I told him yesterday that I'll try and cover it today, as soon as I possibly can, and I have some time today, so why not? Let me just get that done. All right. So, all right. So let me come back to the studio screen. All right. Good. All right. Good. So we are going to get straight into the lesson, okay? I know I took a lot of time, but don't worry, we are going to get going. So, again, we are talking about suspended piano chords, Sus2, Sus4, okay? Number one, for you to understand what we are talking about here, you need to have an understanding of your major scale. So let's take C as an example. First things first, when I play the piano, I said C, and you guys can see C on my screen on the top side, wherever the score is. You guys can see there's a C there. You see right at the top. Look at the top display. You see there's a C right there. I don't want to use the mouse, but you guys can see that, right? So you know it's C. If I played F, you know it's F, right? So somebody will wonder, why does it say F2? Why does it say C2? Why does it say all those things, right? Those numbers next to those things, we know this C is the same, this C is the same, this C is the same. What makes it difference is the tonality of it, or like the octave, okay? So those numbers literally stands for the octave. So here's the concept. If you want to understand how the octaves work, the way it works is the higher the number, the more positive. The lower the number, the more negative. In other words, lower tones are negative towards negative tones, and then higher tones are towards positive tones. So when you look at your counting and you wanted to count from negative to highest, let's just say we wanted to use -5 as an example, right? We are not going to count from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and then go negative, right? We are going to start actually from -5, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we already understand that concept, right? And so with the same concept, right, what we are going to do is, let me actually lower my octave even more. So right now my octave is very lowered, right? And if I was to play this C here, you see it as C2, right? But what if I was to play the lowest C, because I've lowered my octave, you're going to see negative numbers. You see C -2. You don't hear it, but it's C -2, right? If I come here, you see C -1. You see that? If I come here, 0. Okay, if I come here, C1. Okay, if I come here, C2. If I come here, C3. If I come here, C4, and so on. Okay, good. So, with that much said, okay, so let me do it this way. Okay, cool. So that's fine. All right. So we have C1 here. Sorry, C0, C1, C2, C3. I have my octave lowered, so it's lower than what is you saying. All right. So when you see me doing that and it says C3, it's just C. If you see me doing that and it says C4, it's just C. Okay. The moment I add another note, that number is going to disappear and become something else. Okay. Of course, it says C major third because this is the third of the scale, right? And we are going to talk about that shortly. So we were talking about knowing the scale, right? So here's C, example C. In example C, we know we have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, we know we have that. And I can actually show it here. So here, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, we know we have that when we are speaking in solfege, right? And we know that when we are speaking in key, and as example C, we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And again, all those numbers that you are seeing next to the letter at this current moment when you play one note just stands for the octave. Okay, so don't get confused with that. A single note with a number is just talking about the octave. Okay, that's why you see two C's on my screen. One just says the C, one just says the octave, right? Because it has it with the octave, so you know what range to play or whatever it is. Okay, cool. So again, when we are talking about the C scale, that's what I just did. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, now what if we are talking about numbers? Numbers, this is the most important, so remember this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me quiz you real quick. Let me quiz you. Out of the scale that we just did, which one was our fifth? Was it this one? No, wrong. Was it this one? No, wrong. Was it this one? No, wrong. Was it this one? Correct. Why is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let me quiz you again. Which one is our third? Was it this one? No. Because 1, 2, 3, 4. Was it this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's not it. Where is my 3? Was it this? Correct. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we have, in order to understand what we are going to talk about, you need to understand your scale. Okay. So let's get straight to it. In order to form a chord, you need to have basically a perfect fifth, or like a perfect third, a root, a perfect third, and a perfect fifth, right? What do I mean by that? In order to have a chord, remember we did the scale. This was our 1. This was our 3. This was our fifth. So in other sense, our root is our 1. Our perfect third is the 3, the third on the scale, not just any 3, but the third on the scale. Because if we are talking about just notes, this is the second note at this point. First note, second note. So don't get confused with the note. I'm talking about the third on the scale, okay? So don't get that confused with that. And then we have the fifth, okay? So a perfect chord is a root or a first, a perfect third right here, a perfect fifth right here. Okay, then remember which one was our 7th, right? If we have a 5 here, you just got to keep counting up. 6, 7. Okay, you guys see how interesting this is getting? You see, the moment I clicked on that 7, a number 7 just came on my screen. Okay, so what are we talking about here? If you know basic chords, we know to form a chord you need your 4-3 method, blah 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 blah. We are not going to get into all that, right? So we know here it's a perfect C. We know here it's a perfect F. We know here it's a perfect G. We know here it's a perfect A. We know here it's a perfect D. We know here it's a perfect B flat. We know here it's a perfect F sharp. It says G flat, but don't worry about it. F sharp, okay. We know here um it's our perfect G sharp. It says A flat. Don't worry about it. We know where else? Here is our perfect E flat, okay. So many chords, right? We are not gonna jump all around, but the point is those are just our major chords by using the 4/3 concepts to get those understanding, right? Well, if we know these are our basic chords, let's use example C. We are going to do example C for the rest of the lesson, so that it doesn't get long. I want to keep this one short, under 30 minutes if anything. So again, this is our perfect chord for C, right? Our perfect C chord, or our perfect chord. Now we are going to start talking about suspended 2 and suspended 4. So somebody will say, what does it mean? How do I understand that suspended 2 and that suspended 4? Like, what is those sus right? Well, let's talk about that right now. So to understand the suspended chord, you have to understand that SUS stand for suspend or suspended 4. Literally suspend. What does suspend mean? We are eliminating something, right? Suspending, goodbye, gone, bye-bye, bye-bye. That's what that sus stand for. Suspend, elimination, bye-bye, take a break, okay? That's what that means, okay? But you have to think about it this way. Well, if you are suspending something, will you have a perfect thing if something is being suspended? So that means when you suspend something, something needs to happen, right? So you are suspending and adding, right? And so when you look at suspend, you have to think of it as suspending and replacing, okay? You are suspending something and you are replacing with something else. You are suspending something within this chord here, whether it's this, whether it's this, whether it's this. We don't know what yet because we haven't said anything at this moment, and we are going to replace it with something. For example, if I wanted to suspend my root, well, my root is off, and I wanted to replace it with maybe, say, a D, right? Well, this is what I'm going to have now, right? I'm just using as an example, okay? The point is we are suspending, suspend, add, suspend, right here, suspend, and we are adding, okay? And that's what the concept of suspending is all about. So basically, when you think of suspend, see it as unresolved notes, right? It's not resolved, and it needs something to make it full. You cannot just suspend and that's it. It needs something to add to it. And so that is when you add something, that thing you add becomes that suspend, whatever it is. You guys get the point? So let's say we have a C, okay? And the common ones we know about is suspended 2 and suspended 4. So what that Sus2 stands for is this. We are basically suspending this middle note here, okay? The perfect third, okay? And what we are doing is we are going a whole step down. A whole step down will be 1 and 2 here, 1 and 2 here, okay? 1 and 2 here. And so that suspended 2 would mean that we are going to now play the C, the D. We are not playing this anymore because it has been removed. It has been suspended. We have eliminated it. We have what is this word in IT? What is it? We have put it in detention. You guys know the word I'm looking for. It's not coming, but we are isolating it. We are putting it aside, right? And then we are coming back here. And now we are left with our fifth, right? Because we have a 1, a 3, and a fifth, right? And so now our third is gone, and now we have this. And so you guys see, the moment I did that, you see it says Sus2, and that is what that is. Okay, so the concept of the sus2 is this: you have your root chord. First find your root chord, and then basically go a whole step down from the middle note. Just like how we do minors, a minor is a half step down from the middle note of the triad. Same thing, same concept. To get that suspend to, what we are going to do is the same concept of the minor, but now a whole step down, right? Which means 1 and 2. You guys see how beautiful that is? So the same way we have always known minors, minor. Minor is so easy because it's just one, but now it's 2 to get that suspended 2. So what that means is we are suspending you, we are isolating you, and we are isolating you to this 2. Why do we call it 2? Well, remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, right? Makes sense, right? And so we are isolating the third, perfect third, to the 2. Isolating you to the 2. Remember, the concept of suspended chords is unresolved notes, or suspend and replace. We are suspending you right here. We are replacing you with a 2 or something else, right? That's when the 4 comes in. So what is the concept of the 4? The concept of the 4 is, instead of going down to this 2, well, there's only 2 options really. If you look at your C scale, you go do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So it has to be one of these white ones. And right now, if you look at my screen, there are only 2 white ones in between this red stuff you see me pressing. I'm pressing C, E, and G at the moment. What are the 2 notes that are just in the middle? It is this D, and it is this F. You guys see that? And so in order to have that this F, remember what that F is: 2, 4. 2, 4. What does that mean? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And so 2, 4. 2, 4. And so the concept is, I have my root chord, I'm suspending you to a 2. Sorry. I have my root chord, I'm suspending you to a 2. Okay? I have my root chord, I'm suspending you to a 4. Root chord, I'm suspending you to a 4. Okay, so the idea here is, hold on. Sometimes it's so difficult to do this thing. Okay, so right here we go. All right, so suspending you to the 2, right? Same concept here. We are suspending you to this here. Okay, sometimes my keyboard makes it look different, but it's the same thing. Okay. All right. So that's what that suspended 2 and suspended 4 stands for. This 2 and this 4. Okay, in this scenario. Okay. Remember my keyboard, when I play F sharp, it says G flat, right? So it has ways that it notates it sometimes, right? So sometimes it can make it somewhat confusing to you because what I'm saying is saying something else. But that's the whole idea. So see here, suspended 2, and then we go here and we suspend it to the 4. Okay. All right, good. Good. So basically, 1 second. I want to show you guys something here. So let me show you guys here so it makes better sense because I'm sounding a bit too confusing. So I want to just show you guys so it's easier to understand me. So when I'm going to take my face off so you can see this here. Okay, so you guys see this thing here. Actually, let me show my mouse. That way it's better for me to explain. All right, so now you guys should be able to see my mouse, right? Good. So you see the same suspend 4 that I'm talking to you guys about. You see the C is here, and now this one was the 2, right? Let me make it bigger. Let me make this bigger. Okay, I think it's big enough. Okay, there you go. Just look at it here. Okay, so you see the C is here, and this is the 2. You see, they even numbered it for you: the perfect 1, the perfect 3rd, the perfect 5th. And so that suspend 4 concept is this C and then this right here. You guys see that? So my 10 is not notating it this in an easy way for you to understand, but that is what it is. Okay, so I hope you guys understand. So again, we have the perfect first, the perfect first, the perfect 3rd, the perfect 5th. Okay, that's why it says perfect first. And then we have the major 3rd, which is really perfect first, perfect 5th, major 3rd. That's how we notice it. But basically, perfect 3rd and perfect 5th, and the root perfect 3rd, perfect 5th. So 1, 3, 5, and then in between that we have the 2 and the 4. And so when we isolate this one, okay, to this to get the suspended 2, not the 4, but then we isolate this one to this to get the 4, suspended 4. We got it? So something like that. Okay, I just wanted to kind of show you guys briefly, so it doesn't sound confusing, because it sounds like I'm confusing you guys, because my keyboard is not showing the Sus4, right? It's showing the 2, but it's not showing the 4 concept. Okay, but this is a Sus4 is what I'm telling you. Okay, it's just notating it differently. Okay, we good? So that's what that stands for. And remember, the piano can be notated in different ways. For example, this C can be called something else. This then can be called something else, right? And so that's why. So just understand that. Okay, so that is that for that. For the suspended 2 and the suspended 4. So an example, we have our perfect chord. We isolate the 3rd to a 2 to get a suspended 2. We have a perfect chord. We isolate the 3rd to a 4th to get a suspended 4. Got it? Let's do example for F. So in F, you cannot just do it without knowing the scale, right? So if you have, see, not this, okay? So the thing about F is it goes straight forward, but here, you got to remember to come to the B flat. So you got to remember that. So in the same sense, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay, so if you're talking about the 3rd, 1, 3, 4, 5th. Got it? So the ones we are going to be isolating is going to be this, not this, not this, but this. Got it? Because it has to be in that scale. So we're isolating this. Well, we're isolating this to this, to this, and to this. Got it? So in other sense, and our F sus2 is going to be isolating this third to a 2. You guys see that? And then same way, we isolating this third to the 4th. Okay, and that will give you your sus4. Okay, F sus4. Got it? It's just notating it differently, but guys, same concept. Let's do another example, G. So when we do the G scale, we have okay, so not this. All right, you guys got the idea. So that is that, and then you have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 1. So to have your perfect chord, you need your root, your third, and your 5th, right? 1 2 3 4 5 3 5 1. You guys got it? So in this same sense, if we needed to isolate these chords, this chord, or if we needed to suspend this chord, then we are gonna suspend this one or isolate this one, all right, or quarantine. That's the word I was looking for in IT. We are going to quarantine this one because it's not like it's not part, it's part, but we are quarantining it for some time. So we are going to go in quarantine. Okay, we are going to quarantine you. Okay, and then we are going to bring you. So G sus2. Okay, and you know, so you got, and then you want to do your 4. So sus2, 1 2, sus4, we go up 1. So all right, so again, it notes it differently, but it's called sus4. Got it? Got it? That is it. So I think you guys get these examples. Okay, so now that we've talked about the suspensions and we have explained it, now I want to talk about major 7th chords. Okay, the 7th chords, and there are only 2 ones that I'm going to talk about mainly. I'm going to talk about a regular 7th or a dominant 7th. Then I'm going to talk about a major 7th. When I say regular, I mean you're just going to see whatever your chord is, and then that 7th. Example, we have C, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Keyword in that scale, right? So that will be your major 7th. Got it? So if you want to get your major 7th, okay, chord, that means it's the 7th of whatever chord you are talking about. So let's do example F. If we were to do our major 7th, we would need to know what the 7th of this is. Remember the scale? Right? 7th, right? So if we wanted to know that 7th, that means we need to play this 7th. You guys see that? So that's the major 7th. Okay, let's do G. If we need to know the 7th, we know we are at 5 right now. So we go 6, 7, and then back to 1. So that means we need this one to make it a major 7th. You guys see that? So that is the idea. And so that is a simple way to understand it, is to if you want to get a major 7th, to simply play the 7th of that major chord. Major chord, major 7th. You guys get a point? Major chord, major major 7, major chord, major 7, major chord, major 7. You guys get the idea? Cool. So that is just the basics of it. Now, if you don't know that, you're not going to remember your scale, well, of course you should know your scale. So let me not even say this, but let's just say if you kind of struggle to kind of figure your scale or whatever, and you wanted a simple way to look at it, right? Well, before I do that, let me talk about the regular 7th. Well, guess what? The regular 7th is basically a half step down from that major 7th. What do I mean by that? We know this here is our major 7th. A half step down would be this, not this, not this, but this. Okay? So if we have our major 7th, we are just going to take it a half step down, and we have that. Remember I told you C7 stands for C dominant 7th. Well, if you see a C7th, that stands for C dominant 7th. If you see a F7th, it stands for F dominant 7th. Whatever you see, 7th stands for whatever dominant 7th. Got it? So a simple way to look at this is this. If you don't know your scale and all that, and you just know your root chords and all that, well, please do study your scale. It makes it easier. But let's just say you struggle with that a little bit, and you wanted to understand how to simply do this. Well, a 7th, let's just say right now we know this is a C7 or a C dominant 7th, and we know this is a C major 7th, right? So simple, we are going to say a simple way to think of this is, you can say a major 7th is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 half steps up from the 4 half steps up from the last note of your triad. Where's your triad? What is my last note? What are the 4 half steps? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one simple way to think of it. And then you can say, oh, a dominant 7th is 3 half steps up away. So sorry, a dominant 7 is 3 half steps up from my last note of my triad. Okay, and that can be all my major triad, right, or my major chord. Okay, and that will be, what is my chord? What is my last? What is my 3 half steps up? You guys see? So 2 ways to think of it is to say, hey, I'm going to use the concept of the 3 and the 7th for my last, and it's problem solved. Or simply know your 7th and just know that to have the dominant, you need to go a half step down. That's it. You know, so it's a perfect 7th, or this is a perfect 7th, by the way, right? Perfect 3rd, perfect 5th, perfect 7th, right? So when you have that, just simply minor it to get your dominant. That's it. You know, so 2 ways to look at it. All right, I'm talking about this because it's going to make sense as I talk about extensions. Okay, so now let's talk about the extensions. Now that we understand these concepts of the 7. Oh, let's do examples. So C dominant 7, C major 7th. You guys see that? F major 7th, F dominant 7th. You guys get a point? G major 7th, G dominant 7th. Sorry, G dominant 7th. You guys see it? Major 7th, dominant 7th, half step down. You guys get a point. So same concept. Okay. Well, now that we get that point, now let's talk about extensions. Remember, our brother who asked the question said, how do you get the knives and those kind of stuff, right? Well, let's talk about those. So one way to look at it, one way to look at the ninth, okay, is, let me talk about it all together. We have the ninth, the 11th, and the 13th, okay? And I want you to think of it as all those are extensions of whatever you have played. What do I mean by that? For example, if I was playing my do re mi fa so and I kept going, that's an extension. Like that. It's just an extension of those. So my 1 is here, my 1 is here, my 2 is here, my 2 is here, and it's just extending. So when you're using 2 hands and I was to extend it, it's an extension, right? Well, here is the trick though. Extensions will never happen until you have your perfect 7th. Okay? So you cannot have an extension with just a perfect chord, a perfect 5th chord. What is a perfect 5th chord? 3rd and 5th, right? We forgot about our 7th, right? This is a perfect 7th chord. Okay? This is a perfect 7th chord. This is a perfect 5th chord. So if you were to just say this is our perfect chord, and we were to say we are going to just do the extensions, it will not work that way. In order for it to work, you need to have your perfect 7th as part of it, then now start extending, right? And the way it would work is basically the simple way to think of it is your 9th, okay? Your 9th is going to be your 2, okay? Do re mi. Let's example C. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 1. So your 9th is going to be your 2. It's just repeating itself, okay? And then your 11th is going to be your 4, okay? All right? Or your 4th, and then your 13th is going to be your 6, okay? Got it? Remember 4 5 6. Okay, so 2 4 6. So this here is going to give you your extensions, okay? Not this chord, but those specific keys, notes. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, I have a C chord. In order for me to have extension, can I just do this and just play the D as an extension? It doesn't work that way. Guess what? It's going to just give me a C add 9, right? And we didn't talk about the adds, right? So now, while we have made this mistake here, let's talk about add 9th, right? So the point is, an add 9, that add that we see, the add that we see is the same concept as this thing that we have just talked about. The difference is that just goes with the major chord, but the extension goes with the 7th. For example, to have the extension, I need to have my 7th played, then I need to extend it. Now I have that that major 7th 9th as an extension. If we keep going, if I play this, I'm going to have my major 7th 11th as my extension. If I keep going, I'm going to have my major 7th 13 as my extension. Got it? Well, another way to look at it is this. Remember, the keyboard is a repetition of itself, right? And it just repeats itself. So if I was to say, hey, I want to make it like a simple chord or whatever, well, guess what? D here is the same D over here. So I can just use my thumb, okay? This thumb here, thumb. And I can just flatten my thumb so it can hit all those notes like this. You guys see how beautiful that is? It sounds like a fat chord. And it gives you C major 7 9th, right? Here. You can just flip it. It's almost like inverting it. You guys get the point? So, same way, if I have this F here, okay, and my 4 here, and I have a C add 9, and I wanted to make it into a beautiful chord, same way, I can just simply fatten it here. Look at that. You guys see how simple that is? Okay, very beautiful. All right, what if I wanted to do my 13th? Remember, my 13th is here. Sorry. See, it didn't work, right? Because I forgot the extension. Remember, the 7th is very important. Very important. Don't forget that in order for the extension to work, you need to have the 7th. If the 7th is out, it's not going to work. Okay? So, In the same sense, I have this right here, okay, and it's my C major 7th 13, right? 13th extension 13, right? So if I was to play that on this side, well, guess what? This is A, this is my 13. At the same time, it's my 6. Where's my 6? Right there. You guys see how beautiful that is? You guys see that? So the point is, you can do all that around, right? So you can either have it this way, and have it this way, have it this way, have it this way, or simply you can have it this way, you can have it this way. Sorry. You can have it this way. You can have it this way. You can have it this way. Sorry. I keep forgetting the 7th, right? Your hands got to be good to play it, right? Okay, got it? So again, remember the mistake I'm doing. I'm always forgetting the 7th because I'm teaching, my mind is all around. So remember the 7th, don't forget it. Don't just keep thinking of this. At the 7th, then start thinking extensions, right? Don't think about extensions if you don't have your 7th being played. Major 7th has to be played, okay? Same thing, a minor major 7th. How does that work? Well, how does minors relate to the 7th? Same thing, but you simply just minor your chord. For example, C minor, half step down, right? F minor, half step down. G minor, half step down. Simple, not hard. So the same thing is just minored. However, this concept still stay the same. Nothing changes. So major, minor. You guys see that? C minor, major 7th. You guys get a point? Same thing, C minor, dominant 7th, or C minor 7th, or C minor dominant 7th. You guys get it? F minor, major 7th, F minor dominant 7th, or F minor 7th. You guys get a point? G major 7th, or G minor major 7th, or G minor dominant 7th, or G minor 7th. You guys get a point? So understand the difference between all this, right? And so you know how to notate it, okay? Good. So basically, the way this works is, how do we know how a chord is called? For example, the extensions keep going. How do we know what to call it? Blah, 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 right? Well, all the chords with extensions are going to basically be called or notated by the highest extension. What does that mean? For example, say if I had a chord like this, I had a major 7th here, then I decided to do something like this, right? Well, guess what? What is the highest extension that you see? Tell me. Is it this? Is it this? Or is it this? Guess what? Is the highest. You guys get the point? And so it will be notated by the highest one. Not this one, not this one, but the highest one. Because it's just a repetition of itself. You get it? It's just a repetition of itself. Remember, I just told you the 9th is your 2. Your 11th is your 4. And then your 13th is your 6. Right? And so the chord will be notated by the highest extension. This is an extension, this is an extension, this is an extension, and this is just a repetition back to the root. And so, the 13. You guys get it? That's just an example, okay? If we were to do something like F, and we wanted to play the 7th, right, like that, and we wanted to do the extension of that, right? Well, So we start from the extension. So I'm not sitting well because my hands are here. I have to go lower. So let me just move my body here a little bit. So if we have this, and we went, this is the F, right? Which is a perfect seventh, right? And let's just say we wanted to do the extensions. Remember, the extensions are just kind of a repetition of itself, and it's the 2 and the 4 and the 6, right? This is the 2, this is the 4, this is the 6. Okay, so in other words, the 13, right? The 6. So the 2, the 4, the 6, and then back to F. You guys get it? Okay, because if I don't and I just do this 4, it's going to be the 11th. If I just do this, it's going to be the 9th, the 11th, the 13th. But then if I play it all together, it's going to take the highest extension, and this is just the root. You guys get the point. So you can do the same thing for G. G. So G here. All right, that is that. All right, to have the extensions, we need to use the 2. So G. Right, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you guys see that, and then back to G. You guys see it? So extension 9, extension 11, extension 9, extension 11, extension 13, back to the root. You see, it didn't even change because it's just the same. Nothing's changing, right? Just back to the roots. So, in the same sense, G2, extension 9, extension 11, extension 13. You guys get a point? So that's how the extensions work, okay? So the point that you have to always remember is the 9th is your 2, the 11th is your 4, and your 13th is your 6. The 2, the 4, the 6 of what? Your major scale. All right, that's why I say you kind of have to get familiar with your major scale so it can be easier for you, okay? So basically, I want you to see extensions as stacks or something like that, right? It's like we are stacking things on top of each other, right? It's like stacking, all right? So if it's C, we are stacking and we are stacking and all that, right? And that's how that works, okay? I think this is it. I mean, I don't think I can go further. So the key is, remember, add 9 and add, well, I didn't really say I would talk about that, but let me just talk about that briefly. So remember that perfect 7th and then that perfect 7th 9th. Well, if we eliminate that 7th, it's now going to become add 9. You guys see that? Once the 7th is gone, it becomes add 9. And it's the same across for the 11th also. It's usually 9th and 11th is the common ones. So C, the add 9th, and then the add 11th, okay? And of course, if you keep going, my note is going to change it to like a 6, okay? So let's just do the 9th and 11th because it's 9th and 11th because it's most common, okay? So the add, that's how it works. So let's just say you can flip it, add 9, right? Same thing, add 11, okay? Same thing, add 9, add 11. And you can do the same thing for the other ones, right? So the point is the extensions happen with the seventh. Okay, this is example C. Example C. Example C. Example F. Example C. Example C. Example F. Example G. You guys got it? Example C. Example F. Example G. Okay? That is how the extensions will happen. So after that point, then we look for our 2, our 4, and our 6. 2, 4, 6. Okay? So just, you can use that as a formula. That 2, 4, 6 as it's your extensions. Okay? And that can be a formula for you if that works for you. You know? But it's just, you know, building off a repetition type of thing. Okay? So 2, 4, 6, and then 2, 4, 6 root. 2, 4, 6 root. Whatever your hands can do. Okay? Good. And so you guys get a point. So that's how the extensions work. The extensions work with that 4th note, which is the 7th. However, the adds work with just the 3 notes, which is just the perfect 5th, the perfect 3rd, 1 root, 3rd and 5th. All right, perfect 3rd, 5th. Okay, perfect chord, but then perfect 7th. Got it? So perfect 5th chord, perfect 7th chord, perfect 5th, perfect 7th. Okay, and so on. Perfect 5th, perfect 7th, perfect 5th, perfect 7th. Okay, so the point is the add 9 and 11 will always be that 2 and the 4, and then in extensions it has the 13, but in adds you don't really have the 13. It's just the 9th and 11th which are commonly used. Okay, which means add 9, add 11, something like that. Add 9, add 9, add 11th. You guys got it? So add 9th. So the point is, with the adds, it doesn't have this thing. With the adds, it doesn't have this thing. With the adds, it doesn't have this. The fourth, okay? But the extensions must have the 4th. And then with the adds, you simply do that and find your 9th and 11th, which is your 2 and then your 4. You guys got it? So your 2, your 4. Okay, that is the in example C. In F, so your 2, that will be your F9, F add 9, and then 4, F add 11. You guys got it? In example G, F add 9, okay, and then F add 11. You guys got a point? So that is how all there is to it. With the adds, you don't use a 4th, a perfect 7th. You use a perfect 5th, 1, 3, 5. With the extension, you use a perfect 7, 1, 3, 5, 7. 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay. Example C. Example F. 1, 3, 5, 7. Example C. Sorry. Example G. 1, 3, 5, 7. Okay. That's how it works. Okay. So this is just a little bit of theory for our brother who asked. Once again, just to make sure I've answered all the questions. I want to make sure I want to make sure it works for you all. So let's see. Let's see. All right. So our brother did ask. Again, I just want to show you before I let you go. So let me move this away. As you guys can see, our brother asked here. I've also wondered how. I've also Powerful. Thanks for sharing. I've also wondered how we are able to identify and understand these chord names that are on the screen, right? Which we have done a good job explaining. For example, C Sus4, we've talked about it, and C add 11, we've just talked about it. I've always tried to learn the concept and theory of it, but never knew where to start from. So I hope this has helped you, brother Davy Way. Okay, Davy Way, that's his channel. Okay, so you guys can um, you guys can just go on there. And again, if you want to subscribe to our channel, I told you guys can. When you go to YouTube, just type in L4C Multimedia. It's going to come up, and then just click here and subscribe for us. There's going to be subscribe there. Just subscribe, okay? Cool. And if you guys want more lessons too, Ken Dave's channel is there. You can go there and subscribe to his channel as well. Okay. All right. Well, guys, that is it. That is it. That is it. All right, that's going to be it for this video. Okay. All right. Hope you guys have been blessed by it. Again, we've learned a lot today. All right. So just as a quick recap, we've learned our regulars. We've learned how to suspend it or suspend by isolating the third to the 2 or the 4. Got it? Isolating the third to the 2 or the 4. Same thing, isolating the third to the 2 or the 4. Same thing, isolating the third to the 2 or to the 4. It's that simple. And if you isolate it to the 2, it means Sus2. If you isolate to the 4, it means Sus4. As simple as that. And then if you wanted to understand the seventh concept, we've talked about it. Either you use the 3 method, which will be this, or the 4 method, which will be this, or simply remember to play your perfect 7th to get your major 7th. And you can also just not minor, but go a half step down to get the dominant 7th, right? And we have also learned, if you see a C, a letter with just a 7th, it means dominant 7th. Okay, it means DOM7. Even if you don't see DOM7, dominant 7th. Okay, good. Major 7th, dominant 7th, major 7th, dominant 7th, major 7th, dominant 7th. Okay, major 7th, dominant, major 7th, dominant 7th. Okay, that's how that works. Okay, so just understand those basics. And then we have also learned that the adds and the extensions, right? Once we have this 7th, we want to extend it. We have our extension 9, which is a 2, okay, and our extension 11, which is a 4, and our extension 13, which is a 6, okay, which is 2, 4, 6, okay, 2, 4, 6. Okay, and we have learned a chord is going to be notated by the highest extension, meaning an extensive chord. Okay, an extended chord is going to be notated by the highest extension. So, for example, if I had extension 9 and an extension 13, that means it's going to be called extension 13. Why? Because it's a repetition of itself, and this here is going to override. This here is going to override this. Okay, that's how it's going to work. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. All right. And again, you can flip it too, similar to kind of inverting it in a way, but not really. So here, okay, same thing. All right. And again, if you want to do the add 9, that means you gotta get this out and now start doing your 9, your 11. Okay, got it? 9, 11. Okay, and that's what we've learned about. So I hope this helps you get how these things work. Okay, again, if you are interested in taking class with me, I teach private lessons, so you can register for class. I teach virtually just like this through Zoom, and I have a few students. So don't count yourself out if you are interested. Okay, the number is +1 571-577-4471. You can reach me on WhatsApp or direct call +1 571-577-4471. Again, +1 571-577-4471. Okay, or you can just reach us at studio@liveforchristnetworks.com or info@l4c l4cmulti.com. All our information is all around on the page and on the YouTube, so you should be able to get it. Okay, if you can't find it, just comment whatever, send a message, and we'll take care of it. Okay, all right, I hope this has helped you guys. I know I wanted to keep it short, but we still went over an hour, but it's good. It's good for you, so you can really understand this. Okay, all right, well, you all have a good one. Remain blessed. I'll see you guys next time. Minister Stein with L4C Multimedia. Bye bye.